Welcome to the Love Leep Podcast. We're your hosts, Adam
and Anisha Leeper, just a couple of young millennials who took the leap from dating to married life. We're here to share the journey with you.
Expect candid conversations with us and our guests, covering everything from the first dates to the early years of marriage.
So take the leap with us on the Love Leep Podcast. Relax.
Okay, let's go.
Who was ever going to tell me that husbands are like little children? For instance, I'm making my own tea for myself, and he's being nosy, talking about, what you making over there? Is that some of that ginger tea? No, it's mind your own business tea. You're not getting it.
Fantastic. Give me 14 of them right now.
Between that, or if I'm on the phone, he just be standing there, and he waits until I'm off the phone. Who was that you was talking to?
It's okay to be nosy.
It's not. It's not. Yes, that is my child. Sorry, y'all. Braxton is eating. If y'all can hear him.
They shouldn't be able to hear him. This is on like.
Hopefully, our audio is really good today. Because those last two episodes were horrible.
Yeah, I want to apologize first and foremost. I had the best settings on this little soundboard that we're using, and then decided to switch it so I can hear myself in the headphones better. And that's what messed up the audio completely for the last two podcasts, because we got those back to back to be proactive and didn't want to reshoot them. So
that's bad.
Yeah, sorry about that. That was on me. So I did a little check of it, and it sounds good today. So I'm not going to touch anything. We're just going to leave it, keep it how it's going.
We've been a little MIA lately, but you know what? Let's start off. Sorry. Welcome to the Love Leep Podcast.
Welcome to, what is this, episode 7?
Yeah,
this is the season finale of season 1
yes.
for the Love Leep Podcast.
Ow!
Whoops. Let's do that again. Welcome to episode 7 of the Love Leep Podcast, the final episode of this.
MIA for a little bit. We were supposed to do some filming. Adam has been gone for drill. I have been working. Yeah, he was gone. I was working. Just a lot of stuff kind of happening.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking over a new unit, and I had to go for a whole week and like sign for everything, which was fun. Always fun. Pulling out tents in 90-degree weather out of these big, we call them Connex boxes, but the big shipping containers, that wasn't fun with only 2 people. So,
and in the middle of that, I had to work the same exact days he was gone. So my wonderful father he came up here and stayed for about a week. Bless you, Braxton. He stayed about a week. He babysitted big old Braxton boy over here. Shout out. No. He's still standing here.
lay down.
So, yeah, that's what was going on.
Yeah, just to catch y'all up with what we've been doing. Wasn't that intentional that we didn't want to, see you all or converse with you and get another episode up, but this life is lifing. So last episode was the Groomzilla loading, so I know people want to probably hear about what that looked like as far as being a Groomzilla. Mind you, everyone, I was given that title. I don't feel like I justly deserved that title, but I wasn't mad at the title given to me.
He deserved it, and we knew he deserved it when my mother in quote said that after the wedding, Adam needs to meet her behind the building so they can square up one good time. And she kept saying it. And the fact that it was one of our items on our checklist to tell you how this man was acting, like it just was. I'm used to it, but I don't think some people are used to it. But when I first got with Adam, Adam was not who he is like today. I think I've unlocked something that's a little bit too much to handle for the world. He was more quiet than what he is today. But he's also very bougie, and I'll actually say he's bougetto. He's bougetto because it's a bougie he cannot afford great success, but he's gonna make it as so. Like that's just him. And just like listening to certain things. And I'll give you guys an example. So as we spoke before, we did go to a wine festival for our birthday. And we went to that wine festival and had a great time. Later on, after we got married, there was a wine festival in DC that we went to with the crew, and you know who the crew is: BB, Bianca, Brianna, T. And immediately upon entering, Adam's nose was in the air with disgust because it was nothing like the one that we went to in Baltimore. And to this day, he will bring it up.
No, okay.
He will bring it up and say, that was just horrible. It was in a parking lot. There was just like, it was just so bad. The one that we went to, they just aren't topping the one in Baltimore. He talks like one of those people that you have to watch out for whenever you go out to eat because they always ask to talk to the manager.
No. Hold on. Let's rewind this. So
I need to talk to the manager. I just feel like that my food came out 2 minutes a little bit too late, and it's not up to my taste. I'm just gonna go ahead and send this back, and then I'm gonna ask for you to go ahead and take it off the bill because I'm not paying for it.
No.
But the last time that I went to the last restaurant back in a different state, they did my food really well. So I don't understand what's wrong.
Because this plays into, I don't know if we didn't talk about that part, but we could talk about it here. But this,
what you talking about, the second festival?
No, the food tasting. But I'm talking about the first.
Tasting.
I'll explain.
Wait, what food tasting?
For the wedding. I'll explain.
Oh my God.
Anisha has always, when you talk about bringing the bougie,
I wasn't talking about the food tasting.
I'm using it as an example, but we're going to talk about it. When you talk about bringing the bougie out of me, yes, you help the bougie come out, but let's not lie here. Remember, this was at the tail end of us being at Fort Lee, and we went to Olive Garden, and there was, I think it was a little hair or something in my
baby.
food.
He didn't know how to speak up.
It's not about speaking up. I just didn't care at that level. You were like, let me know.
Who's gonna eat some food that has somebody else's hair in it?
It wasn't.
Was it that, or was it that it came with tomatoes?
It wasn't the hair, because I would have sent that back. Yeah, it was the tomatoes, and you were like, let me know now what I need to do, because you were the type and are the type to be like, no, this isn't right, send it back. You're that bougie. I was never that bougie, but I had bougie tendencies. I just got more comfortable with it being around you. I will eat the food.
You got on $150 Zara fit right now.
You bought that as a gift. I don't shop at Zara, so don't.
He wears it with pride.
I don't shop at Zara, so don't try it, because I will shop. I shop at H&M, and I get it on sale and clearance. You are more bougie than I am, especially when it comes to food. So that's not a good example.
Okay,
because festival.
Wait. Okay, we're gonna talk about food real quick, because he has, and we're gonna sound off in the comments on this one, because this is a very, very, very good subject. We're gonna talk about taste. Okay, I have this thing.
No, let me tell you.
All right, no.
You're gonna lie.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell the truth.
I'm gonna wait till she's done telling y'all the half truth, and I'm gonna give you the whole truth.
I'm gonna tell you the full truth, okay? So I have this thing where, yes, I feel that it is a little bit bougie. Oh no, y'all, he's trying to. Anyways, I have this thing where
It don't matter if he can hear us. We not going to the door. Keep pushing.
anyways, oh he left. Oh, he did.
Get off my line.
He's leaving. Okay. So I have this thing where okay, for instance, growing up, we used to go, me and my parents used to take me and my brother to Fridays, okay? Fridays all the time. Our appetizer choice was potato skins, extra cheese, extra bacon, well done. Okay. I stopped eating at Fridays because they changed their recipe. Okay. I have this thing where I can taste when somebody changes their recipe. I can taste it, or I can just look at it and be like, they changed their recipe. This is about to be like not good. And I will literally never eat there. And I know that because okay, if you were going somewhere that you love and you ate there all the time and then they change their recipe and it's for the worst, why would I patronize there?
I wish I had those Ray J glasses that flip down, but for those of you who are watching, I'm gonna do it this way because she's giving y'all the sugarcoat version.
That's the truth.
Okay, so this is how it sounds.
That's the truth. I'm not lying.
Anisha will try something, right? And when it could be one little thing that's off, like the rest of the menu of products that they have hasn't changed, but it could be one little thing that's off, and immediately she says they changed the recipe, and it's over. I know at that moment in time, we're never going back.
Weird. Did he go and knock on the rest of them people's house?
I think he's just going door to door. That's what he's doing.
He was already over there. I already seen him. Anyway.
I don't know. Yeah, so that's how it is. She'll say they changed their recipe.
Y'all have to understand. Like,
and that's the last time. That's the last time we will ever eat at that establishment.
I'm not Adam. Adam, like, literally will have a plate in front of him, and my mom jokes about it all the time. His food is gone. And then my mom be like, did you even taste it?
Your mom...
I have to taste it. And then another thing about food. Okay.
Laquita got to get in line, though, because they used to say that about me all the time.
Oh, my God. Anyways, this is another thing, okay? Let's sound off in the comments on this. When you go to the Cheesecake Factory, and you get a slice of cheesecake, you know how big them pieces of cheesecake are, okay?
They're not that big.
Okay,
They've been gaslighting us for years.
Them things are like
they used to be very sizable.
They're sizable when you're inside versus when you take it to go.
Right.
But when you get a slice of cheesecake from the Cheesecake Factory, how long does it usually take you to eat it?
We know how long it takes you to eat it.
It takes me a few days because I like to...
It takes you a week because you
what?
think you like to savor and then you forget about it.
No, that is not true. I end up finishing it anyway. However, I do like to savor my food.
Anisha, your burger was sitting in there from
because
Belo's?
I went on a trip the next day.
Okay, I'll give you that one. All right, I'll give you that one.
What was I going to do?
However, when you have sweets, they will go extinct in the refrigerator before you finish them.
I don't believe in eating sweets all in the same day. I feel it makes me less big bag if I eat it throughout the span of a week versus eating it in one day. I would be real big bag if I sat there and ate a whole slice of cheesecake in one day. Therefore, girl math, if I take that slice of cheesecake and eat like maybe 2 bites of it every day for a week, it's less calories and less of a big bag behavior.
That's not even girl math. I feel that logically that makes sense. However, hold on.
He agreed. Put it in the
calendar. However, I'm going to push back on that. I will eat it in one day, not because I'm big back, but because
he's hungry.
I need to get back onto my cycle of clean eating, and I'm doing this to indulge. So if it sits in there, I'm going to mentally feel like, oh, I'm off. I'm always having to restart my health foods again because it's always in there, and I'm gonna go to it if I got a taste for it. If it's gone, then I don't have to snack on it, and I don't have to add extra. That's the other thing. You're adding extra calories to what
I never cared. I didn't care.
I know you
If
didn't.
that was the case, then I just wouldn't eat it at all. However, I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah, but don't come at me when I will just eat it. And yes, I savor it just because I
He
eat
don't
it
savor
faster.
it. He be like this.
Just like speed readers can still get all of the information out of a piece of text and they read it 2 to 3 times faster than you and they digest it faster. I do the same thing with
Adam
food.
be tearing up a plate of food and Mike over and be like, dang, he tearing that food up. He be over there like this.
No.
He be like,
I'll be like, mind your business because this is my plate, not yours.
we just be sitting down getting ready to divulge in some conversation with our food. And then I finish cutting my burger in half and I look up and he be over there like major pain, wiping his mouth. I be like, you know what? I'm not even hungry anymore.
Do you know what's funny? Your dad be trying to race me now. When we're at restaurants, I'll catch him trying to race me with what he's eating. It's like it's very subtle, especially when we go to Texas Day Brazil. Then he tries to make it a marathon.
He be like, you throwing in the towel leak?
You throwing in the towel, leaper? You throwing in the towel? Like, yeah, this is a lot of protein. Like I'm full. I'm supposed to. But yeah, so sound off in the comments on
2 questions. So can you tell the three. Can you tell the difference in between when somebody like that you've gone to frequently, a restaurant or something, changes their recipe? Is that a bad thing?
Well, not is it a bad thing.
What's the problem?
The problem is that
so upset about?
You totally swear it off.
That's not true.
I have to be one band, one sound, and never go to those restaurants.
That's not true. And you want to know how I know that's not true? We still go to Dave and Buster's, and they betrayed it. They betrayed me.
They didn't change their recipe, boo.
But they just
took the cake away for seasonal reasons.
Wait. But let's not go ahead and talk about the fact that when we was just at Dave and Buster's not that long ago, Adam was smashing on the fries, and he goes, they changed their recipe.
The fries did taste a little different.
You're tripping. You're bugging. But if I say it, it's a problem.
No,
but when he says it, it's okay.
That's the thing. When I say it, you dismiss it. When you say it,
he dismisses.
No, we can't go anywhere. We can't go there anymore.
He's lying. You know what? The day that Wingstop changes their ranch, I'm done with the science. Because the way that has a distinct taste, it's so good. That's the one thing that I hate about it. Listen, y'all. When these restaurants change their sauces, that's when I really get pissed off. Because I've been dipping my stuff in y'all sauces for years. And then you try to go and change it. I don't like that. Consult with people before you do it.
It's not consulting with people because they do. It's you want them to consult with you.
Absolutely. I'm big dog in this place. I'm funding your store or your eatery. I'm funding it with my wallet.
So that's question 2 and 3 is can you taste the difference when these establishments that you frequent change their food recipe? And do you end up swearing it off and not going?
You gotta understand though, like if you grew up with something and you ate it all the time and then they just went and changed it, it don't hit the same. One day it's gonna happen to him. Something that he eats all the time. Something's gonna change. And then he's gonna realize, you know what, babe? I'm gonna hold your hand when I say this. You were right. And I'm like, I know I was. And then I'm gonna hold him and hug him because he's gonna be sad because the restaurant changed.
That one day is gonna take maybe a couple generations for that to happen.
Whatever.
It just doesn't faze me the same way as it phases you. Because there's still other stuff on the menu that I eat.
That's because you eat food to survive. I eat food for the taste.
What, are you the food critic from Ratatouille? Like you eat, if I don't like it, I don't swallow the food. That's you. That's you. You're that guy from Ratatouille.
I mean, I'm not gonna.
If it's not good,
food out, I'll still eat it. But that's the same thing that he said. I mean, when we get into it a little bit, because we're gonna keep going, we're just talking about this. When we get into the whole food tasting, this man cleaned the whole plate. I was about to cut.
He
cleaned the whole plate. He talking about if I was a food critic, I would be so different than the rest.
I would mess up everybody's restaurants.
I would literally eat the whole plate to make them think that it was really good, and then I would crash. Okay, so you're going home with a big back and a full stomach to tell them their food was nasty. You still ate it.
Big back, big back.
When they could have just took the money. They could have took the money.
Do food critics pay for there? Okay.
Well, yes, they do. Because sometimes they don't be knowing that they're coming in.
Oh, I think they get reimbursed if they do it through a.
They have an app, though, like for normal people like us.
Yeah, it's TikTok. No, I'm just kidding.
My God. No, it's an actual app.
Well, I think I know when they used to do it in the old days, what newspapers would do, like they would go and be food critics for the newspaper. I think they would get reimbursed at least some of their money from their actual, place of business. But I guess you gotta now get it how you live and get somebody to sponsor you being a food critic, which is, can be lucrative with social media. But let's get into what's.
Well, alrighty then.
Yeah, let's get into the actual show of the day.
You got your notes up?
Yeah, I got my notes up. So we're gonna start off with we did the car fire story. I feel like it's been so long. What did we leave off? Because there's some stuff in here that's not.
Why don't we look?
I mean, I see it. There's stuff in here that we didn't check off. We did the inauguration. We started at Aerotech. My supervisor, the car fire. We did all that. All right.
Talked about the last thing we talked about was you getting tested.
Oh, when we were at the
this
thing.
is probably going to be a little bit longer because we do have a lot to go into depth with this. Because I'm just looking at everything. We did the save the dates and everything like that. So we're just gonna kind of go. We should just go step by step in our whole process with planning for the wedding, and then just talk in general. So I guess we can start off. So once again, we said that we did our save the date pictures and everything like that. We sent out our magnets. We have save the date magnets.
Oh yeah, my hairbrain schemes, which is on here. So
we're gonna talk about
the first of my hair. So this is what I had. This is the issue that I had when we were starting the planning process of the wedding. The issue I had was it just seemed like there were so many things that people kept saying were traditional, in air quotes, that every business that you would look at around weddings monetized every bit of it. Save the dates. I still don't get the point of them because what we've seen, not just with our wedding, but with all of our friends' weddings that were around the same time and our friends' weddings that are happening this year too, save the dates don't matter because people don't save the date. Even the older people, like the older saints that my sister would call them, on our list, our guest list, didn't save the date.
And we're watching it real time because we just hung out with my brother and my sister-in-law today. And their wedding is September 22nd. Their deadline is in 2 days. 139 people have not RSVP'd.
With the invites. So the save the dates to me are irrelevant if people still aren't, because we had to hawk people down for the invites too. So it was that's one of the things before I dive too deep into this and lose you on the story.
I mean, but that makes sense. But another thing that I just also, the one thing that really irritated me the most was, I guess that people want. I'm gonna go ahead and say some names. My mom, I'm gonna throw shade. My mom was more so like, "Hey, why did you put a QR code on the back of the invitation?" Remember, she kept saying that.
Yeah, because this is 2022.
Yeah,
boo. Welcome to the new world.
She was like, "Why would you put a QR code on the back of the invitation for people to RSVP?" But we also sent the card inside of our invitation, and I'll probably add a little picture so you can see our invitation look. Our invitation was like an envelope,
but we didn't send.
We didn't send the return.
A return envelope.
Why do I have to
pay
for myself to go ahead and send it to you, but then also to have a stamped piece of mail in there for you to send it back when you could just use the QR code?
Especially when one of the invites that we sent was going to Canada.
Shout out to me.
That was like $9 for one invitation.
But that was also our fault because our invitations, like I said, they were envelopes. They were thick. So they had to
And
be
we had this
weighed, and
wax
we had a
seal
wax seal on the back.
with our initials on
Yeah.
it.
So we had to pay extra. I think we came out of pocket almost like a good $200 to $300 with just sending stuff through the mail.
For
Just for the
inviting,
invitations, not to save the dates.
Yeah, inviting over 250
plus people. Yeah. So that was like a big mistake. But like even we just got BB and Bianca's invitation in the mail, and they had like a cute little plane on there. Theirs is like an envelope kind of style too. So I can't even imagine like how much that was, but ours were a lot thicker than that. So I'm like, the fact
Yeah.
that we spent that much money having to send from Maryland, which is already expensive,
Oh yeah.
and then going all the way around, it was just one of those things where it was just like, why in the world did we get ourselves into this? But then it was just my mom talking about, older people, they don't know how to use their phones and stuff like that. And they were calling us like, how do I do this QR code? I don't understand this. I'm like,
that's fine. Phone a friend and talk to your younger.
You act like y'all wasn't going out to use QR codes during COVID when you were supposed to be in the house. When you were supposed to be out in a restaurant and they had the QR codes on the table.
And no paper
and y'all
menus
was scanning
or physicals.
to get your mimosas and your lemon drops and your green tea shots.
We seen
y'all
you.
should have been at home.
We know who you
know
are.
how to use the QR code.
We know who you are. Don't lie to us. Yeah, that was one of those things. Is just and we'll get into it. So let's just get into it because we can make a whole segment on with wedding stuff, and we'll have to do that season 2 when we bring in one of the professionals around like wedding season stuff that we're gonna bring in.
It'd be cute though to also ask the married couples that we talked to what are their like do's and don'ts when they got married. What was it that people said that they should do and they did it, or like what are their regrets on certain things?
Oh yeah,
I don't have that many regrets as far as for like the wedding and stuff like that. I've told him before. We got a little bit rushed with our bridal party to take pictures with each person individually. So I have no individual pictures with any of my bridal parties.
Yeah, or me with my groomsmen.
None.
Really.
Like we have none at all individual because they were antsy.
They were late.
All y'all
were late.
Antsy. Y'all was hungry when we told y'all to bring snacks. This is going for all of them. I can name all the names and shoot shots, but I'm not going.
We got like 2 or 3 good pictures.
Yeah, we didn't get a lot of good pictures. Most of our pictures were just between me and him.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I wish that I had was individual pictures with each person, with just either me by myself and then me and Adam by himself with them and stuff like that too. Just to have it, because like when you have these days, these special days, like their birthdays and stuff like that, you want to post these cute pictures. I don't have those.
Yeah, because they were complaining.
That was some complaining.
They were complaining and they were late. And the plan was already told to them, like, hey, make sure that you have snacks and stuff, grab drinks on the way out, get in the car. The venue we were taking pictures at was literally 2 minutes down the road. And they still couldn't find it right. And they got there late. We were supposed to do 4 different sites.
We only did like 2.
We did 2 sites because they complained going to the second, which
was
was literally like 150 to 200 feet away from the first site. All of them were in
walking distance.
Yeah, like
we walked this to see it
radius.
Ourselves. We walked it to see ourselves.
Yeah, it was not bad, but
we digress. Let's go ahead.
We digress. Yeah, so all right, so we start our like getting real deep into wedding planning. We're in Laurel at this point in time. I'm working remote with Volkswagen. You're working hybrid with Aerotech. So every day we were on the computers looking up stuff, looking up venues, looking up just everything that we could look up. We were always on TikTok for inspiration.
Well, we found our venue before we moved to Laurel.
Yeah, that's right.
We had our venue before. We had a couple of different ones that we were looking at online, but we ended up finding the one that we wanted when we got to by the time we got to Laurel. So we had already had that already in the bag.
Yeah, so we were,
and I'm gonna be looking at my phone.
We were looking up all that stuff and just getting everything sorted out. We had a Hobby Lobby literally 5 minutes up the street from us, so we were always at Hobby Lobby on like different breaks that we would take throughout the day. We had organized a team around us for wedding planning to handle certain things. We had like Stony handled the venue, or not the venue. Stony handled the blocks for the hotels, and then she found the site where we were going to take pictures at. Your mom just kind of helped us with bridging the gap between two. Your mom was a swing player. She did like a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah,
She did a ton of stuff.
We had Destiny was kind of more of our graphic design team.
Yeah, for the
within
welcome,
herself.
for the signs that we had, like the cookie sign, the welcome sign.
Yeah, anything that had to do with like really like graphic design.
Your bridal
stuff
shower
like that, yes.
stuff,
She
or
did most
even
of
our banners for the picture booth that we did, and and what we did for what was it? Was it Snapchat? It was
we had a Snapchat
filter. Yeah, that we made. So
and then Diamond was more of like the spearhead on things as well. She piggybacked with Destiny on certain things. She did a lot of searching, kind of putting stuff together and things like that for us too to see if we liked it. BB was there. He was also on the team.
BB and Bianca, I had to draft them to the All-Star team from the
Bianca was kind of on the side, but BB was in the actual group chat.
Yeah, BB was in the group chats. Well, because I would always call him too, and we would talk, 3-4 times a week, maybe at that point in time. He was my best man as well, so we were always talking. Yeah, and even him and I. So he helped me find. How did we find that suit shop? I don't even remember if it was. Oh, you found the suit shop.
I found it. I went to the mall one day, out in Towson, and I can't remember what I was doing or something like that. I may have been going. No, I don't remember what I was doing. However, I did go to the mall like months before this, and ran into this man. I think. Oh, we were going to go find a bow tie for you for the pictures.
Yeah, for the pictures.
And I was like, there's a suit shop. We were running around in the mall. You remember, you were somewhere else, and I was upstairs at his shop.
I don't think I was at that mall yet. You were, I think.
Or did I tell you to meet
mall.
me?
You told me. I
told you to meet me.
There. Yeah.
So I was at the mall looking for a bow tie for him, because he needed one for the picture. And then I was up there talking to the guy, and that's when I called him and I said, "Hey, can you meet me at the mall?" And he met me at the mall, and I told him where, and then he came upstairs, and that's when you met. What's his name? Byron.
Byron, yeah. And that's where I ended up getting the groomsmen suits from, and we did our they flew in to get their measurements. The ones that did fly in, and then some of them drove in to get their measurements. That was in like January, and that's a little bit later on. That's when the COVID had hit again back out in like China or stuff. So
yeah,
all the manufacturers had to move, and it delayed our suits, which was a low key nightmare. But BB was helping out on that front to keep things cool and keep in touch with Byron on that. Around this time as well, I started individual therapy for myself. So reason being, I think it was some conversations that I kept getting into, and I kept running into the same theme of me being like condescending to people. So I said, well, I don't know really what that's about and how to fix it. So I decided to go into therapy and figure it out. And it was one of the best decisions I made as far as just all the stuff that was uncovered in therapy for my personal journey and just keeping me mentally sharp and working on some things while planning a wedding and doing everything else that we were doing, holding down full-time jobs and working on each other's sanity so that the wedding planning wasn't that bad. But I'll say in total, that year that we spent planning it was fun.
Yeah, it was
year
fun.
and a half was
we
fun.
Didn't have, I don't think, I mean, it was a little bit of stress, a little bit, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It was way more fun than anything. Like, it was one of those things after we got married, that next day, it was kind of like, what are we supposed to do now? Like, I was a little bit sad. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this took up all the time that we had and stuff like that, where we were having conversations about it and all this other stuff. And now we just don't have anything else to talk about. It's kind of like I don't know, like a weird, I don't want to say a depression, but it was like a little bit of sadness. And like, even when we went to the venue to go get the rest of the stuff the next
day.
it was like I was bawling. I was like, oh my gosh, like this was such a beautiful thing. It was so fun, and you could still feel the energy of like everybody who like love us and we're laughing with us, having fun with us, we're partying with us in this room, celebrating love, celebrating us, and
just all the energy that
yes,
surrounded
like you could feel it, and it was just you could still feel it, and it was just so beautiful, and it just was so sad. Like I was just kind of sad. I was like, oh my god, this is so crazy.
This is just an empty venue at that point. But yeah, so before we get ahead of ourselves on the actual wedding day. So we're doing all this planning. The suits get delayed. We end up getting them like really last minute. I had to really work with logistically trying to get the suits to the groomsmen so that they could get them altered and tailored, because those suits were ones that they bought that they ended up keeping, and I wanted it to be a nice tailored fit for them and not be like too loose or too baggy-ish type of thing on the fit. So it took a little bit longer, but they got them. Even though we had to put out like so many different small fires from when the dresses came, and they were different colors.
Well, that I didn't know. I didn't know that until the day of the wedding. I did not know that. But there was some things that we were just going into play. We skipped the whole part of this. We changed our wedding colors because we were supposed to do. I think we talked about this in the last episode.
Red and gold.
Yes, the red and gold. So we changed that. But I was putting together little sheets and stuff like that so that they could see kind of what they were going for. So we ended up going with the rose gold, like a blush pink, a burgundy, and a cream type of look. And then we started kind of trying to figure out what we were going to do as far as decor and some other things. And in between this, we are still going out. We're still hanging out and stuff like that. We weren't isolated. We weren't just sitting in the house all day. Excuse me. But yes, that's what we were doing. And then in between that, my niece had her quinceañera.
Yeah.
He was gone. I went. And then you came back. Oh, that same weekend I went dress shopping. So I went dress shopping that weekend. Oh, we're past that. Okay, let me skip. That note wasn't helping anything. I'm trying to go through the pictures so I can see. Yeah, but no, we ended up with the dresses. I found a dress that I thought that everybody would look really well in. My idea, and that's the thing, your ideas go a little bit different when you
in execution.
Yeah. Because I had always said that I wanted my bridesmaids to wear the same colored dress, just different styles. And I ended up going with that. It was the same dress, the same color. I wish it was the same color, but yeah. So that was that.
So one of the other harebrained schemes that I had, I had a few of these as we were getting deeper and deeper into wedding planning. Because again, it just seems like when people say weddings, all of these vendors want to take so much money away from you because they know it's an emotional type of it's an emotional spending time for you because it's your wedding. You want it to look nice and all this romantic stuff that they show in the movies and on TV shows. So, but I looked at it like, well, this is kind of ridiculous. Why we planned it ourselves and tried to find ways where we could save money but still make the wedding look as great as it came out to be. But one of the other schemes was that they called schemes, and I got shot down with this too because we ended up doing the save the dates as a magnet, so I compromised there. But the other one was for the actual wedding, because we were doing a black tie creative theme to the wedding. And I said, well, I got this idea off of somewhere on social media. I was like, it makes a lot of sense. Having it be like tables and seats at the Met Gala you have to pay for. At different galas, or some people call them galas, you have to pay for your seats if, at like fundraising events, stuff like that. And if we're all there to see the couple be successful and start them off successfully, then the easiest thing we could do is kind of have it like a black tie event. And each person pays for their seat. And really, the seat cost would be the cost of the food. Our plates, mind you, cost $45. $45 for a plate. So, and for people to really like maybe not recoup or invest anything into us besides coming to the wedding, right? And just saying, hey, love you, cuz, love you, fam, love you, this, and not give really anything. So the thought process behind it is you make it like a black tie event where people at least pay for their seat. So if they don't give you a gift on top of that, at minimum they paid for their seat, and food cost is usually the highest cost when it comes to a wedding.
And I don't think people realize that.
Right, they don't realize that. So at least you break even on the food and you're not losing that much money out of it. But then people can still give gifts, and you can then start to make some money that invests it back into the couple so that they can start off a life together, not in the hole financially. So I got shot down multiple times on this, and
I thought it was tacky. I think the only reason why I thought it was tacky, just as bad as when the people, I guess now I think it's tacky, but I thought it was hilarious and I wanted to do it. But remember, it was like that couple, they sent out invoices for the people who didn't show up to the wedding.
Oh yeah, we definitely should have, because we had 18 or 21
like 18
people,
to 20 people that did not show up.
That RSVP.
I'm sorry.
Do the math. 45 a plate by 21 people. Do the math.
I stand on business when I say, when it comes to events like weddings, I'm gonna say weddings separately, because with baby showers, you could cater your own food and stuff like that. Like you can bring your own food and stuff, and like all the other stuff. But weddings,
Absolutely.
honestly, some people are some of the most selfish people that I have ever encountered when it comes to weddings, and I think that's the reason why so many people just go ahead and elope. And we said it so many times while wedding planning. Let's just do that.
Let's just go to the courthouse.
Because half of the stuff that people just do or say, it just makes you just look at them like, what? And then it makes you just want to just tell them to plan their own wedding so that they can see later on in life how we weren't bugging when we were saying some of the stuff that we were saying. So
$945 for those of you who were doing them.
That's only for the first,
for the 21 people
who didn't show up.
The day of that didn't say that they weren't coming, that RSVP'd and didn't show up. $945 of food that just goes to waste.
And this is not in a high place. This is in Ohio. My brother, I'm listening to the prices that my brother and my sister-in-law are paying for catering, that my parents are taking care of for catering, and I am shook.
The quotes that they got for different catering places was like 20 racks.
Yeah, and that's here in Illinois.
The venue that we booked out in Ohio for the biggest room that they had that came with the bar package, which is what unlimited, was 10 racks.
Yeah.
To get that venue.
Just the venue.
The venue. And it had catering attached to that price. They are, venue aside, catering aside, 20 racks. One place was like 30 or closer to 30.
I'm shook. I would literally, I would be sending an invoice.
So that's what I'm saying is, if you're going to RSVP, pay for your seat. Because the thing that I really despised the most was, and you could see it on how many like cards you get, and it's not, I don't want to say like it's selfish to think this way, but the cards that we got, you can count that we had like 230 something people there. We did not get cards that accounted for 230.
We got a lot though. No.
We got a lot.
We had a big old. I would say we had a lot. I think we ended up. I'm not trying to be like funny or anything like that, or trying to throw a dollar amount out there. But when I did the actual math on how much money we got via cards in general, I think we ended up getting almost like 3 bands. And
But you
we're
gotta
like,
think.
but that I'm regardless, I'm grateful for that. I'm not complaining.
I'm not complaining about it, but what I'm saying is this: is that
I just don't think it's a whole
there are
monetary
people.
thing. I'm not looking at it in that way. Regardless, I want you to come because you want to physically come, and it's not just because you want to go to a party. I.e., we've had that situation where people were upset because they weren't invited at all, but they only wanted to be invited to the reception and not the wedding. And for me, I personally feel that if you don't want to see my union, why would I invite you to the reception? You just want to come to the party,
No,
which is the
right?
most expensive part. Let's not get into the rest of this because this is gonna be all money hungry, and they're gonna think that we probably some scammers or something. No,
No, I'm not saying that.
I'm done.
What I'm saying is, and I'll leave it here. Is there are certain cultures that
They shy
when it
with money. We
comes
know that.
right, is that's how they see it. Is they see it as they're trying to sow into not just like
That's not us though.
affirmations and stuff into people, but like they're actually trying to put you off on a good foot because they know that coming to this event, it wasn't cheap to produce the event at all. So that's all I'll say about it.
That was his harebrained schemes, and his other one was he tried to put a smoker on the bridal shower, um, gift list to see if somebody would buy it
your
for
registry,
me,
yeah.
for him. No, we're not doing that. Anyways, so we're gonna go ahead
How did we
and
miss the Bachelor and Bachelorette?
we didn't miss it yet.
Okay.
We're gonna get into that. But we did have two smaller tragedies that did happen
During leading up
during
to the
all of
wedding.
this.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe this was no. Okay, so this was probably a year before. I think we were still in Baltimore when Uncle Alfred passed away. Yeah, we were still in Baltimore. Um, my great uncle, he did end up passing away, and we had to go ahead and attend the funeral and everything like that. We had just finished our pictures, our engagement pictures. My hair is so flat. That's how I remember. So yeah, we were still in Baltimore around that time. And that one did kind of hit a little bit. However, the one that really did hit really hard, my actual, like my uncle, my mom's brother, my uncle Bug passed away a couple months before we got married. And the only reason why that hit hard was because he had been making jokes about how my dad wasn't going to be able to keep it together walking down the aisle. And he kept saying, "Well, you let me know if I need to step in to walk down the aisle with you instead of your dad walking down the aisle with you because I know he's not going to be able to keep it together. Like I can't keep it together right now." And so that was rough.
Yeah, it was a tough time because it was literally
It was a few
maybe
months.
2.5 months
It
or so
was.
before the actual wedding, and he was pretty excited to go and was always making that joke that he was gonna step in to walk Anisha down the aisle because
I was cracking jokes at Adam
yeah.
and all that stuff. So just kind of seeing that kind of happen was one of those things where it wasn't something that I was truly expecting. We had our memory table and everything already set up, but having to put him on there was one of those things that I was not expecting.
Yeah.
Especially for both him and my mom's other brother. Their younger brother passed away some years ago. Kind of not expecting to have a picture, the picture that has both of them in it, to be on the table. And in that small little circle, I know that both my uncles, their wives, are like really close and stuff like that. So kind of seeing them to not being able to come because it just was a little bit too hard. And I know my aunt Laura wanted to go, but it was a little bit too rough for her to go.
Yeah, it was a
Because
little too early.
it was just a little bit too soon, and just it's just it was just really rough. Wasn't expecting it. I don't think that I really told anybody about that much. But it was a little bit rough to kind of navigate through.
We had to, keep pushing on and
yeah. So that's that. Now I'm not gonna cry anymore. Whew. I want to say what happened next would have been the taste testing. We ended up going to.
Yeah, so we ended up going to Cleveland to taste test the food for the wedding at our venue. And when we got there, we got like, I think it was like our one of our final walkthroughs or something of the. No, that came later. It was they were just taking us through
We were
the
getting
venue
all
and
of our
getting,
stuff together, like the napkins and everything, and how we
yeah,
wanted
the
the
linens.
lights and all this other stuff.
Yeah, so we took, it was your parents, myself,
Sylvia went.
Sylvia, who was our gonna be our day of coordinator,
She's my Hispanic aunt.
which
So,
she was amazing as a day of coordinator. Uh, you know, did did her did her thing. Really, really did her thing on that one. So we all went to the taste testing to see the menu that we had pre-selected uh when we booked the venue. And what was it? Because we did I think a beef. Did we do a beef option?
we did a beef, a chicken, pasta. Girl, we had a bunch of
It's
food.
chicken
Child.
chicken
Chicken marsala.
chicken marsala. So they joke with me to this day because it's a taste testing. If you put some good food in front of me, I'm gonna eat it. So I ate it, but I had one note to say about the chicken marsala because I could taste the wine, the sherry. What is it? The sherry wine. It wasn't cooked down enough in the sauce,
It
so
was
I
good
could.
though.
So at least my version of it, because then everybody wanted to say, "Oh no, my sauce was great. My sauce was great." And I said, "Well, no, mine. I could taste the sherry wine in it. Could you just make sure it's cooked down a little bit more?" And everybody was, "But you ate the whole thing. You cleaned your plate off." Yeah, I ate the whole thing because it's there. It wasn't bad. If it was terrible, I wasn't gonna eat it. But that's why the comment came out at that day of where I said if I was gonna be a food critic, I would have my little thing where I'll eat the whole, like whatever they put in front of me, I'll eat it. Whatever I order, I'll eat it all. And then if I have negative things to say about them, I'm gonna give them negative reviews, and they're gonna be confused because they're gonna look at me like, "But he ate everything. What happened?"
It's crazy. Yeah, no, we did the taste testing and just went over like our linen and stuff like that. And it was actually a really good day. That was actually fun. By this point in time, though, yeah, we're planning. They're probably planning the bridal shower, and we were planning the joint bachelorette party. I had my bridal shower in the same day that I had my bridal shower. I had my makeup consultation and stuff. So knocked two birds out with one stone. It was great. My bridal shower was really nice.
Well, when it actually kicked off.
Yeah, when I showed up, like I showed up late, and that was because like I was supposed to show up late because everybody was supposed to be there. And when I showed up, it wasn't that many people there because they were late. So
They kicked you out
they
because
kicked me out. Yeah,
they were
they
still
made me go
setting
sit
up.
in the car.
They're like,
So
"No, just stay outside." And they
okay.
were still setting up. And I'm like,
And we're in Cleveland in April, so it was cold.
well, and that's the thing. So earlier that day, we had spoken with Pastor, but I think before that, I had helped take some stuff over to the venue and help them move stuff into the venue that they were going to use to set up for the bridal shower. And then we came back like hours after that, talked to our pastor who was marrying us and did everything with her, did our session with her. And we came back and we were late because you were supposed to be, and still nothing was fully ready for you. The guests, I don't think were even there yet at that time. So you gotta love it.
Yeah, but it was great. It was fun. And then Adam showed up, and
The food was good because I showed
he
up and started crushing it.
he showed up. He showed up, and everybody forgot about me. And then they just went to him. They flocked to him. So I was like, oh my god.
No,
Man,
so your
big whoop.
cousins came up to me because the game you guys were playing when we got there was
Oh,
writing
they had to
vows.
make a no, or were they writing vows, or were they doing the rap?
No, it wasn't vows. It was they were supposed to write a.
It was a rap.
No, it was like "Will you marry me?"
Oh,
Like passage. Like they were supposed to do that, write something, and they asked me, "Well, what did you say to Anisha when you asked her to marry you?" And I was like, "Look, that was kind of off the cuff almost. I don't really remember, so I'm not going to be much help to you." They're like, "Come on, man, come on, give us something, help us out." I was like, "Whatever you got prepared is probably good."
Yeah, it was cute. It was a cute little thing. Okay, so now we're gonna talk about the joint bachelor and bachelorette party in Miami. So we didn't really plan much. We knew kind of what we wanted to do, and then we just kind of just went from there.
It was BB, Bianca, and Dre had planned the bachelor and bachelorette party. So the reason why we decided to do a joint one is because we didn't care to do separate ones like other people try to tell you go ahead and do a separate bachelor.
Y'all, he want to be in my
party.
skin.
We just never cared about that. I didn't care to do a separate one. Like that wasn't
He says that.
my thing.
But I'm gonna tell you why I say he wants to be in my skin. Because we've also had the conversation, and I'm sorry, little TMI. Oh, yeah, no, we're not doing the whole stripper thing. We don't do that. And where he ended up?
That was because of my line brothers took me.
And guess where he ended up after the strip club?
I was over at your Airbnb. So was BB with his feet out.
He was. BB was definitely walking around the Airbnb, the women's Airbnb, like he owned the place. Yeah. Like it was so funny. It just reminded me of like us being like young teenagers sneaking our boyfriends into our room, because he was there because Bianca was there, and I wake up and I'm walking around and he's shirtless, walking around with his feet out in his Airbnb, and then he is inside of the bed, snug as a bug in a rug, and I have a picture of it as evidence. Because why are you here, sir? And then he rolled over, and
because you told me I could come over.
Can I come over? I guess if you want to. And so then he rolls over and he's like, I didn't enjoy the strip club last night. She's a little stinky. And I was like, wait a minute.
No disrespect. Yeah, she had the like. No, I'm not saying that. It's just you know how when people sweat and they have a stinky, sweaty smell, like sweaty gym socks or something. Like that's kind of how it was.
Anyway,
but we'll move off of that. But yeah, it was fun. We had a very nice dinner. So I have to give kudos to BB, Bianca, and Dre because they really put together a great event. And even there were certain things that happened and we were able to still pivot off of those issues. Mm-hmm. So the first night when we got there, we went to that hotel and we had the dinner in that like little private room that had the wine cellar. But then BB, I'm like, dude, you got to relax. Planning's all done. Like, let's enjoy the night. The yacht that we were supposed to have, the boat that we were supposed to go on, because we were going to do that the second day after brunch. It was yours. The girl's captain or something, he got COVID and didn't tell anybody until literally the night before that it wasn't going to happen, and they were trying to do something else. So I was like, you know what? It's fine. Let's just make the decision. Give them our boat, and then you just get the money back, and that's cool. And then so the girls got to go on a little boat and have fun in Miami. The guys just walked around. I think we got some. They went to what you guys slushies. Go to the beach? We went to the beach, and
what's the beach called out there?
Well, like South Beach.
The Lipton Beach.
Oh, Muscle Beach. Yeah. Well, because it was weird. They had those metal shipping containers that had workout gear in them, and you could just take the workout stuff out and put it back. But you could work out literally right there, right before the sand. And then there were some of them that were in the sand. Or they had like a little pad there that you could work out on. But yeah, it was cool. We got on the beach. We saw the water. We just kind of walked around and did our thing because
y'all was doing that and we was getting drunk on the yacht.
We were downtown pretty much.
We were jet skiing and stuff. My mama went and she got on jet skis with me.
Brunch was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just had a time.
We got lit. That's it.
Yeah,
we're being very modest about it, but we got lit. Like that's what it was. Like, I just would have to post videos and stuff because this is so much that just happened.
You know, it's time to get lit when we got there. The minute we touched down, and some of the other brothers that we had invited were at our Airbnb. The minute that we got in there, they were like, "All right, let's go. We got to go find a liquor store." And we hit the grocery store in the liquor store right next to it and just bought a whole bunch of stuff for that weekend's festivities. Just to not even, I think we went through most of our bottles, but not all of them. Like had to do, I don't remember what they did with that. But yeah, it was a good time. Good time. I had that little video you caught of me and George.
I have a bunch of videos that I'll post about that. That'll be its own separate little post about
hitting the gritty in the middle of the street.
Bachelorette party. After that, I came back and I ended up having to go to the dermatologist because I broke out in hives.
But she was stressed.
I don't even know to be honest, I didn't even know where it came from. But the problem is that the places that it was from, where my dress, how it sat, it was just like here, it was under my armpit, it was down the side of my back. So it was just it was not good. And so I had to go and get some medication and some topical cream, I think. And she was just like, yeah, go ahead and put this on. It didn't really clear up that much. I still have some of them, but I was scared. I didn't know what it was. Cause not even trying to be funny. When I was younger, this is why you wash your clothes when you buy them in the store. I think I had got this shirt from Forever 21 and I had put it on and wore it, went out, everything like that. I was still in high school at this point. I got scabies.
Yeah, Anisha thought that they were scabies, and it was just like, it was hives. I don't remember if it definitely was some stress hives that you had. Because she was just so stressed out. Like, Anisha would get so stressed during wedding planning that
it was just certain things that just like, it wasn't even that I was stressed. I was annoyed. I was tired. I was sick of the questions. But he's also...
No, you were ready to crash out because
but he's also forgetting the fact, it's some stuff that we literally just are not going to talk about right now, just because we haven't had a conversation about if we were going to bring this up or anything like that. But that situation was stressing me out really bad.
Well, yeah, there were others, though, that I'm thinking of that, like the night that you turned your phone completely off.
Oh, I turned my phone off because I was, pardon my French, I was done with those whores. I was done with my bridal party at that point in time. Yeah, they were getting called that at that point in time because they were just like, it was just certain things that they would just be asking me after I had clear-cut conversations about what I wanted. And then they would ask me something else, and I was like, "What in the world is wrong with you?"
Just listen, Linda.
And that wasn't even the nighttime. That was the daytime. That I had cut my phone off. I was like, "I'm done talking to y'all. I want nothing to do with you guys. You guys have a beautiful life. You have a beautiful day. Goodbye."
So that's where I had to really step in. So I think I said this on another episode, but my goal was not to be really hands-on at all with the wedding, and was to let Anisha kind of take control of leading the efforts of the wedding. And of course, both of us together would make the decisions. It wasn't like I'm just going to be over here in the corner and saying, "Oh yeah, that's nice. Yeah, let's do that." But like, I was mainly focused on making sure that she was cool and energized and, feeling good about leading the planning team and everything else. And early on, that was not the case. That she was handling that stress very well. So I had to over time step in more and more and more. So that's how the Groomzilla became the Groomzilla, because I like things, and Anisha said earlier in the episode, I'm a little bougie. I like things a certain way with a certain amount of order. So if this is the vision that we have and we're putting this on as like a production and our names are gonna be on it, if I'm putting any effort into it, my name's on it, it's gonna look good. So everybody is going to have to kind of get in line with that to make sure that we can get the image that we have fulfilled. Like nothing bad, nothing wrong, but it was just you have to deal with people, everybody else's emotions, their opinions on what they want, especially on a day that's not theirs and it's yours. And for people who are not married yet or who are planning their wedding or who are about to plan a wedding, you will be surprised on how many people start really pouring out their opinions to you as if their opinions really matter to what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
And we had to fight. We had to like we fighting for our lives in these comments almost every day to try to be like, no, this is our wedding. Leave it alone. If we're not going to follow tradition, quote unquote, or we're not going to do it how you did it, or we're not going to do it how you would have done it, or what you wish you would have done in your wedding that you want us to do, we're not going to do it that way, then leave it as a suggestion. It's a good idea fairy. If we choose to take the magic dust from that good idea fairy and use it, we will. If not, we won't. So I ended up having to really step in and start to moderate the space and manage it so that she didn't get so stressed out and like crash out before we got to the wedding.
I would have started flipping tables and throwing chairs.
So then I got really invested into it. And again, if I'm going to get invested into it, it's going to look good. And I really was like, okay, no, I'm quarterbacking things, like even to we're now at the weekend of the wedding, at the rehearsal dinner on Thursday. We had talked for months about how the bridal party was going to walk in, the timing, literally down to the seconds we picked out the music, how it was going to be mashed together, and how it was going to play out, who was going to walk down when, how they were going to walk down at literally the cues of the music. I would tell my groomsmen, like, hey, when the song hits this, when you hear this go off on the song, you need to be walking. And then when this person hits this spot on the floor, this next person needs to be going up and getting. And we had it down to a science, right? And people still were low key trying to mess that up. They weren't trying to get in line and like do their thing. I'm like,
I don't think
it
wasn't our bridal party. It was outsider people who weren't in the wedding who were trying to switch it up
and jump in with their opinion.
it. And it was like there's nothing. Well, trying to mess it up more because it wasn't anything that needed to be fixed. We had it a specific way. We practiced it, just me and him at home, so we knew how it was. Like we literally came up with the idea. We watched, like we thought about it. We wrote it out. Then we tried it ourselves to see how it would look, and we liked it, and that's what we wanted to go with. And then it was like the rehearsal day. It was just like
it was too many opinions. And
I want this. I think they should do this. I think they should do this. Y'all should do this instead. You probably should do this. You think about this.
And I'm comfortable with telling you in a nice way, in a respectful way, especially if you're older, that to get my point across, that your opinion is, I heard it, but I'm not going to do it. So to give more context and flesh this out, we picked Brian McKnight's Back at One for the bridal party to walk up to, right? So my groomsmen and I, they came in. There was like a like side door ish where we were going to be standing at, that they just walked in through. They didn't have any special kind of like music or stuff doing that. Then I walked your parents walked down, pastor gets walked down, my parents get walked down, and then it was me. I walked down the aisle, had my little 5 seconds thing. But then when the song plays for Brian McKnight's Back at One, as soon as the beat hits, my last groom in the lineup is supposed to walk up, meet, and we were measuring it out in the room, meet the bridesmaid halfway up the aisle, turn around, open their arm like at a 90-degree angle to do an arm in arm walk, and the bridesmaid would put her arm inside of the bicep, and then they would walk down the aisle and split as soon as they got to the first row of chairs, so that when they hit that split point, the next groomsman is walking up and doing the exact same thing, rinse and repeat, all the way till we get to the ring bearers, which we had the ring security team, and they walked up with their little ring security box and men in black looking suits and stuff, the sunglasses, the whole nine. They walked up. Then it was supposed to be both your nieces that were junior bridesmaids walking up at the same time, but they were looking awkward, and that plays into what we'll say in a minute. And then it was supposed to be my niece, who was the flower girl, and she wasn't throwing out flower petals. She was giving out a certain amount of actual roses to people. And she was going to zigzag down and have enough time in the music where she could do that at a decent pace, but get in her spot before the music cuts out. So we had this whole thing practiced in rehearsal, right? And again, I want to hold people to a standard, so people will think, I come off as an a-hole a bit of times, and that's okay. We got something to do though, so I'm gonna have to be the a-hole at that point in time. So then we got through the rehearsals. We did like 2 quick ones. We ate. We went out for BB's birthday. We rehearsed the next day because we had the noops had to do our rehearsal of what we were going to do for the garter ceremony. And then
I went to go get my hair done.
Yeah, you went to go get your hair done. But before we get to the actual ceremony, some stuff still happened in the meantime, leading up to like us actually getting to the wedding venue.
What happened?
You remember what happened? Who was it that needed to get their hair done? Like morning of.
Oh, okay. So yeah.
I ain't gonna say no names, but you know who you are.
Oh my God, he's throwing shade. It's okay. I'm gonna let them know. I'm gonna text them.
Love you still.
On top of that, though, you remember one of the ring security's bow ties were missing. My mom had left it in Toledo. I think it was Tay-Tay's.
And there was a suit shop not too far from the venue. It was in the same parking lot, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it was
so
in the same parking lot.
They ended up getting.
So she had to go get a bow tie.
Yeah.
So between that and then so we're getting ready for so we're getting ready for the wedding, and Brianna and Bianca had to go get their hair
I wasn't
done.
Gonna drop their names.
They had to go get their hair done the day of. I was stressed. I was like, oh my gosh. They had to go get their hair done the day of.
Like the morning of.
I was like so shook.
And what time was it that they had their appointment?
They did as early as they could, which was like maybe 8.
I thought one went at like 7.
One was like at 8, and they just drove together. So it wasn't like they could drive separately. They drove together. And I was stressed. I was stressed out.
Because what people don't understand is, even though we got up early, like the girls got up. I think your makeup artist came at what, 5?
I had 2 separate makeup artists, and they started at 5. I couldn't even sleep, so I just got up and I just was watching. That was the bridesmaid's makeup artist. I got the bridesmaid a separate makeup artist, and then I got a different makeup artist for myself, my mom, my aunt, and I think that's just it. Myself, my mom, my aunt, and I think maybe my niece or something like that. But yes, I was stressed out. I was like, oh my gosh, they need to get back. And when they ended up getting back, I was just putting my dress on, and I had my face already done. They hadn't had their face done.
They hadn't done makeup yet at all.
So I was like, oh my goodness.
And we had like pictures and stuff to do.
So we still had to do like first looks and everything like that. So it ended up being okay. But the big problem, when I was in the middle of getting my makeup done, Laura put her dress on and she came out. And when I tell you, I turned around and I said, "What is that?" And she looked at me and I was looking at her and I said, "It's in God's hands."
So we had kept this away from Anisha because everybody else knew besides her. Because again,
everybody knew but me.
Her stress hives.
Wait, you knew too?
I knew because BB remember he already had the bow ties and he had my suit, but he had the bow ties with him already for the groomsmen before the suits came in, and they compared with Bianca's dress and his bow tie.
And I had seen the dress with the suit together. Remember, we seen it on FaceTime because Bianca and BB, obviously, they lived together. And so they had it. That was the first time that I could see the suit with the dress at the same time.
But I think Stoney had said something to me or what have you, that the dresses were different colors or different because of the material.
It was the material that made it look a different color.
Even though it was the same, it was literally the same hue and the same color. The material, the fabric made it either look more vibrant in a spring color or that made it look darker in a fall color. You
couldn't tell. No, you could tell. Like, you can tell. Even in pictures, you can tell. The smartest thing would have been for the dress that Laura had for Stoney to have it. Because of the different material that it made it look like a different color. But it was no way that they were going to be able to switch dresses. Stoney is thick and Laura is very
more
slim and petite. And the dress fit her perfectly. And Stoney's dress fit her perfectly. And either Stoney wasn't going to be able to fit her dress, and then it was going to be Stoney's dress going to be too big for Laura. So it was just, it is what it is.
And it was. The website that they bought it from, they were all the same dress.
It was just from one of those websites. I will never, ever, ever give out the link to that site because of just how that happened.
Yeah.
And it just was like one of those things where they all knew and was like, yeah, we figured it out the night before because Laura had took her dress out and was showing, I was going to say the twins, but there's two sets of twins. But she was showing Bianca and Brianna, and they looked at it and was like, don't show her that.
Yeah.
And they literally, immediately when she pulled it out of the bag, they was like, do not show her that. And she was like, what? She was like, your dress, they were like, your dress looks completely different than the rest of ours. And what's funny is when you look at certain pictures, and I'm going to show it to y'all, Stoney's dress looks different than Laura's dress, but they both look different than everybody else.
Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't, I guess most people didn't catch it, so it wasn't that bad. The worst part of it was the bow ties. Because the bow ties were a silkier kind of fabric, they looked off from the dresses. But because it was a small accent with that plus the handkerchief in the pocket, it wasn't that bad. But the bow tie even it wasn't matching my own suit. So I had to change my bow tie to a cream bow tie with it had to be a different fabric.
I'm getting stressed. I'm just thinking about it.
But so that happened. The girls had to get their hair done. They came back with like just enough time to get their makeup on and to get the dresses on so that they could do the first looks.
And then in between with Bianca getting her makeup done, she's looking at me like, oh my God, cousin, I'm trying not to cry. I said, you better not cry while you're in the middle.
Y'all can't hear it, but he's dreaming. So he's like, he sounds like he's barking because he's probably chasing them wabbits in his dream. But you were having that issue. We had an issue where it was the watches. Remember, so like Dre and Mo didn't stay at the same hotel that we were at, or something like that. And
you got them watches.
And we got those pocket Corsican watches, that like pocket dial watch thing. So I wanted to have those lined up to take pictures off of, because who our videographer and photographer were, they were taking pictures and we were like setting this stuff up. But I was trying to set up the groomsmen gifts to take a nice little still shot photo, and it wasn't there yet. And also like Dre wasn't there yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, y'all need to be here so we can get going. But I couldn't worry too much about that because I was getting my haircut day up. Most of my groomsmen got their haircut the day before. I was getting mine cut day up, and I got into the chair later than I could have.
And let me tell you about that.
I let Kenneth get a lineup, but then he also let little Kenneth get in and get his hair like lined up. And then I get my hair cut. We're still running, pretty well on time for me to start getting dressed. And then another issue happened. Trust me, this day was beautiful. We'll get to the fun parts of this, but we got to get through the issues first.
This one I can only laugh at because I think it was just like...
There's so many wrong decisions that were made on this.
It was just so funny.
And it was handled, so we're not spilling like tea that nobody knows about. This was handled properly the same day. So my barber, who's my dean in my fraternity, he had taken I think it was like a video, or it might have been a boomerang or something, or a picture.
It was a video.
It was a video of me in my suit with some of my groomsmen. I was already ready. I was decked out. I had cologne on. I had everything. And he took a picture and a video, and he posted it to Instagram.
I'm in the car getting ready, like I'm getting hauled off to the venue. So what am I gonna do?
Were you going to the venue at this point?
I was going to the venue.
Okay, so
I was sitting in the car on the way to the venue, in the back seat with Marley and Desiree because they're holding my dress, and I just was on social media just looking, and I let out the world's biggest scream and said, "Are you kidding me?" And I threw my phone because I saw my husband before I could see him go down the aisle.
So, again, a lot of bad decisions were made. One, do not, if you get a video or picture or something of the other, like the groom or the bride,
don't post it until after.
You don't post it until after. But two, somebody should have had Anisha's phone so that she didn't get on social media the entire day. And somebody also should have had my phone, even though I wasn't getting on social media. But somebody should have had my phone just in case that would have slipped out on the other end. And I would have saw her before she walked down. Because there's a great, and I'm going to post it literally every year on our anniversary, but there's a great clip from our videographer of me crying because I didn't see her. Okay? I didn't see her prior to...
Come here, buddy.
Getting to the getting down the aisle.
I was so mad.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, what is happening? Like, why are we... No, don't do that. But eventually, I did get my phone taken. Stoney took my phone. And she took what she thought was Adam's phone, but it was his work phone. Because you remember she thought it was your phone. And she was like, here's his phone. I was like, this is not his phone. It was his work phone. So she had that. But this was like a whole thing because then the next debacle was when we got there, we were actually supposed to be playing music while people were sitting there. We had our own little thing set up.
Well, let's go to the good stuff first because we missed the pictures.
Well, we'll talk about that, but let's get with the bad first, and then we'll go
okay, yeah, so music was, we picked a whole catalog of music.
Yeah, it was trap music that was like renditioned into like classical music.
Yeah, it was a classical dupe or classical version of like
trap. I'm so mad that it didn't play.
Because we had heard that at my friend Monty and Janelle's wedding. Yes. And we ended up picking up the songs and we were like, oh, that's actually
silent the whole time that they were silent. Waiting.
And it was awkward. And nobody, but what was random was people didn't notice it and like they didn't care. But for us, because we were so focused on the small details.
You know how I found that out? When we were at the when my dad came back to say, "Are you ready?" I said, "How is everybody out there? Is the music really nice? Because we got some cool music." He's like, "What music? There's nothing playing out there." I said, "What?"
So that compounded with, we were trying to, for the people that couldn't come, we had made a Facebook group. We put people in there, and we were trying to stream the wedding. But the night before, we had done so much of setting up the venue that it was like an afterthought to try to do a test run of the actual, like, we had bought camera equipment, well, not camera equipment, but like we bought tripods and stuff, and like microphones so people can hear, and we were going to do it off of a phone to stream it, and we had it set up, but we couldn't really get it to go, so we were like, all right, we'll try to get it in the next day.
Yeah.
So we were about 5 minutes late to actually starting the wedding off like we were supposed to, because BB, God bless his heart, was trying to.
BB was doing a lot, and it shows. It's gonna show.
He
in a
was
second.
trying so hard to get this streaming to work, and I just had to call it like, it's
time
not
of death.
time of death. It's not going to work, so we just have to go. We will apologize to all the people in the Facebook group, and we'll send the finished video product of the wedding when our videographer gets it back to us.
Yeah, we couldn't do it, but poor BB had just so much on his mind, so much that he forgot the ring.
He forgot the ring. So we're getting to that point in the ceremony, and again, we're gonna go back to show you guys the things that were so beautiful.
Yeah.
We're getting to that point in the ceremony, and we're like, hey, now we're gonna exchange the rings. And he looked, and he was like, oh. And he said that, and he was right behind me, so I heard it. But he did one of the, like, you check your chest, you check all your pockets before you leave the house, and you feel like you missed something, and he missed something. So luckily,
but people thought it was a joke. They thought he was just joking. They didn't think he really did it,
because he had
you remember
he was
doing
joking. That, but he also ran back because we left my phone, because Vashti took my phone from me, our videographer, and left it just in the lobby somewhere of the hotel. So he ran back to go get my phone before we got there. And then he was trying to play with getting the streaming going. He gave me my phone back because it had my vows on it. And then, I can figure he's running around doing all this stuff. He forgets the rings, but the rings were in the back room. And he's just like, oh. And then he runs out of the
wedding. Bless you. Hey. Bless you. Bless you. No, he can. Come here, buddy. He probably needs to reverse. Come here. You okay?
He's good. So BB was doing a lot. He ran out to go get the ring. He came back in.
But it was funny.
People
thought it was just hilarious. They're like, oh, he's so funny. And I'm like, and then
they were like, oh, he planned that.
Yeah, we didn't know if he was serious. And he was like, no, y'all, like, I literally had.
Oh, no, you didn't know he was serious. When he said it, because he whispered it under his breath, I knew at that moment in time he had messed up and he forgot the ring. Because of how he said it, it wasn't like oh, man, oh, no. He was said, like, oh, shit. And he left. He's like, I could hear it in his tone of voice that he legit forgot the ring. And he was like,
he ran and came back. And I'm telling you, it was just hilarious because we have been talking about that like for months in advance. Like, look at all these funny videos we've been seeing where the groomsman acts like the best man acts like he left the ring.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I'm going to pull something like that on y'all.
And then he's so like, nah, I ain't going to do it.
He's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do that.
And then he did it.
It ended up happening. So then.
Well, one other thing that was a minor hiccup was when we had the people walking down the aisle, your two nieces were against this decision.
That wasn't their fault.
They were sent.
Kids. They didn't know.
They were sent one by one, and I was trying to wave to our coordinator to send them together. They were sent one by one, and it didn't give my niece enough time. So she gets halfway down the aisle, the music stops, and it was real awkward. There's no music playing, and I was a little upset by that, but it is what it is. People were clapping for her and, showing her love anyways after the music had stopped. I just thought it was awkward, but okay.
Yeah. So we did that. And then when we left to go take our pictures, the power went out. and we didn't know that. The power went out at the venue.
Yeah.
So we weren't aware of that. Nobody told us anything. We just kind of just moved on with it. But yeah, the power ended up going out.
Yeah. So let's rewind a little bit to the fun stuff, because this day was extremely fun. And when they say that it goes by so fast, it really does go by fast. So we were doing pictures for our first look. I did a first look with the bridesmaids. You did a first look with my groomsmen.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all, I want to let you know this. I could not hold my emotions together because I kept listening to, and this was like the theme song that ended up playing is one of the songs in our video, was that song with Future and
With
Drake and
Tim's.
Tim's, "I'll Wait for You." Because every time I heard that song like playing in my head, I started to tear up.
That was your song. Mine was the song that we did our first dance to.
Oh, that one was
that
was a good one.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
So I was tearing up, like getting ready, and I'm like trying to hold it together because I'm like, I'm with all my guys. I'm not about to sit here and cry. But it was one of those, all the emotions started hitting me all at once. And I had nothing else to plan and to keep myself busy with, to try to plan. So I was literally just sitting there and everything was starting to come out. And you start your first look with the groomsmen, and I'm outside. You're in the courtyard. I'm on the other side, and I'm not seeing anything. I'm trying to go over my vows, and I'm breaking down, crying, trying to recite these vows. And your dad's sergeant like met me. He was outside with his daughter, and he was like, "Oh, you're the groom." And I had to like get myself together again, so I'm not, I don't want nobody to see me crying. So then I told myself, do not ask any of my groomsmen what Anisha looks like. Do not ask any of them what she looks like, because you're gonna start crying. Telling myself this. They come out, and we're about to switch over, and I look at George. He comes up to me, and I was like, asked him, how does she look? And the look that he gave me, for those of you who are watching, he was like this. The look he gave me, I just started breaking up crying. And like he started giving me a hug, because I'm like, he's like, she looks really beautiful. So I start bawling. I'm trying to hold it together. My aunt, who helped do our flowers, was also helping to coordinate some of this stuff. So she came up to me. She was like, "Are you okay? Like, what's wrong?" I was like, I don't know, but it's just a lot right now. It's a lot of emotion, but I'm good." So then I get it together, so I could go out. But what was that with the guys, like when you saw them, and how did that go? Because I wasn't, of course, I wasn't.
I was like, when I was nervous. I was like, oh my gosh, like, we get together because these are my guys. But they all be picking on me. So I'm like, okay, they're going to just be like, oh, yeah. So, but no, when they came down and we did the first look and they were all cheering, thank you, I'm my girl, y'all can tell my future husband I'm good, But it was really cute. I liked it. I ended up doing a first look with my dad too. My dad is not like super emotional, so he was just like, all right. I ended up giving him his tie to wear, because he was just so worried about his tie. He was like, why do I gotta go do a first look with her and I don't even have a tie on? Oh my gosh, I don't even have my cufflinks. I don't have none of this. I had his tie and I had his cufflinks. His tie had a picture of me and him on the inside of it.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, and then his cufflinks were, like they were like custom, and it had like engravement on it, and it had like a thing on it. And then I did that. I gave him his tie with his cufflinks, and then I brought my mom as well, and I gave her jewelry that had a box that said like a whole little paragraph about me being her daughter and thank you and all this other stuff on it. So they got that at the same time. My mom, she had the waterworks. My mom.
Yeah.
But my dad, he was like,
he was a G. He wasn't trying to cry no tears. So then I get out there to the courtyard. I had a first look with my nephews, and we'll post these pictures. And you'll see my nephew Moses. He didn't have the bow tie at that point in time.
Poor Moses.
Poor Moses that little boy
was
was
not
sick.
feeling well.
Yeah, the babies were sick. So I had a first look with them with their little ring security box. 'Cause
Remember,
I think-
my mom forgot to get Tay. She forgot to pack him underwear.
Oh yeah,
She had to go buy some underwear.
she had to go
for
buy
him.
some with the bow tie and stuff like that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I had a first look with my nephews with the ring security box, Moses and Michael, and then we did a video and like the photographer was out there, but just the same way that they preceded the guys into the courtyard through the like back way, but there's like a fence or a gate on the backside. They brought the bridesmaids in, and we were having a blast. They was like, "Oh, look at you!
Yeah.
Who's him? That's him?"
They be eating him up.
Yeah,
My
they was
God.
they was guessing.
And I know Adam loved it.
I was like, "Oh, who me? Oh, this whole thing."
And then they came back and was like, "Girl," and I was like, "Don't tell me." And it was like he was looking good, girl. His hair, he got the fresh lineup. His suit looked really good on him. They was telling me everything. I was like, "Shut up, y'all! Please don't tell me no more."
It was funny because when they walked up, I had my foot up against a wall in my back.
Looking like
I had
from
to
Jodeci.
right. I had to milk every bit of that to have some fun because again, I was in my feelings around that time. So then we did our first prayer where they had us against that same pillar, and you came out from the one end of the hotel, but I had to hide on the other end of the pillar so you could see me. They had us close our eyes. We held hands, and we did our first prayer. That was a beautiful moment. And then we ended up leaving to go to the venue. And before I could get out into somebody's car, one of my groomsmen's cars, I see my older sister walking by. And I just looked at her and I just started bawling. Like, because when I say the emotions were so overwhelming, in a good way, I just had to let them out and not bottle them up. And I just started.
Why'd she have that on?
Maybe she came from something.
Did she work at medieval times?
Yeah, that's what she looked like. I don't know.
That's not what they wear in medieval times.
No, that's kind of what they wear. Sorry, we talking about somebody outside. She's I don't know. I don't know why she dressed like that. That's her prerogative. Anyways, I'm bawling, and my sister's like, "What's wrong? Like, are you okay? Like, what's going on?" I was like, "Nothing's wrong. I don't know what's going on. I'm just, I don't know. Like, it's just, my emotions are just going. Like, nothing's wrong. I'm happy. It's just I'm crying. So I put my head in her, like against her shoulder, and I'm just bawling my eyes out. Got this little handkerchief, and I'm just wiping my face off and just going. So I get myself together. I get in Juan's car.
My mama kept telling me that. She said, he just keep crying every time I see him. He's just crying.
It was like just a lot of emotion that just needed to come out, and I just was like, it was the day that day. It just had to come out. I think partially because too, I didn't really get that much sleep because we went to sleep probably around like 4-ish, and didn't, and then Vashti like woke us up at like 7 or 8. It was like, remember we went to that hookah lounge, and then I was just talking to B.
Oh yeah, y'all did go out. I forgot about that. Okay, I remember that. Yeah, I remember. Oh, we forgot letting the drunkies put together our centerpieces.
Oh yeah.
We had to stay up, and the day of getting together, I had to put my.
When I tell you we had done everything as far as the small details ourselves. We got fake flowers that were in our color scheme from Amazon, and we put together because we went to Hobby Lobby and stuff.
Like we literally was like, together. Here, this is what it's supposed to look like. Do it like this. Them things.
We taught them what to do, how to do it, and we walked in. We went to their hotel room.
They were lit because they were in there line dancing
and drinking.
It's the Golden Girls. Y'all already know who the Golden Girls is. I already told y'all who the Golden Girls.
Y'all peeped the Golden Girls.
The Golden Girls was in there lit.
Plus a couple others.
But plus the Newt. Some of the Newts was in there chilling with them.
Dave was in there. They were learning line dances
with the Golden Girls.
And they had put together some of the worst centerpieces and used up all of the flowers.
I said, oh
they were like, we don't know how we're doing this, why we're doing this so wrong. So we had to correct all of these
I had to
flowers.
correct them while I was like up there getting ready, while everybody else was getting ready, and I was watching them get their makeup done. I was up there fixing the centerpieces because I was like, "What did y'all do?"
Like, we can't go to bed tonight until these centerpieces are fixed. And we ended up getting them handled. Some of them still look so jacked up that they had to put them on the back tables. That luckily
Nobody sat at.
the people, the 21 people that never showed up, they never sat at a table with a bad centerpiece, so they got lucky, I guess.
Yeah, but anyway, but no, yeah. By the time that I got to the venue, I was just in the room with the girls doing TikTok dance.
Yeah, and we had to get there. We had to make sure that you weren't out there by the time I got in there, and that the door was closed because the rooms that they put us in were like almost right next to each other. They were separated by a little bit of space, but we had to walk past the room, close the door, and all this other stuff. So we were in there doing dances. We were in there rehearsing the garter ceremony stuff. We were in there strolling a little bit. We were doing our thing, having fun. But I'm a nervous wreck at this point because
I was nervous too. I didn't even wear high heels to the wedding because he scared me the day before. Like I'm very anxious on certain things. Like you tell me something and I think I'm gonna do it, and then I'm just not. Like I'm gonna chicken out.
How did I scare you the day before?
Do you remember when you were saying that? Remember when you were saying that if you lock your knees, like when you stand up?
Oh yeah,
and I was gonna pass out
during
and
the
I was
rehearsal.
Like, oh my goodness! So I didn't wear heels because I was scared that I was gonna lock my knees and I was gonna pass out.
It wasn't about the heels. So
I wore flip flops. I went down the aisle and nobody knows that.
Being in the military and being in formations for long periods of time, you start seeing a couple things. And people who lock their knees out, the blood can't circulate. So then when they unlock their knees and they try to move, I've seen enough people go down and it got bad, or they pass out and they fall out and they just go limp. It has nothing to do with the heels though. And I told people, just kind of bounce your knees to make sure that they're unlocked.
I just felt that I would be better in flip flops to stand the way that I needed to.
Which I didn't peep that you weren't in.
Nobody did. Nobody knew it because I was like.
And she got these heels. The heels that she got were nice. And
I ended up wearing them at the
reception.
But like my flip flops kind of looked like my heels. They had a bow on them, just like my heels.
But nobody could see your feet when you walked down or up the aisle because your dress was so long. Yeah. So that was. So we get to the venue. We're just kind of chilling there. Again, the phone debacle happened. Then we get out and actually start walking down the aisle. When I tell you, it seemed like there were so many people in there when I went down the aisle.
Well, I didn't look. I didn't look at anybody, so I really didn't even know who was there. I was just like, I told myself when I get to the end of like the top of the aisle, look at him and him only, because I was like so nervous, and I was just like, if I look at everybody else, I'm just gonna freak out. And I was like, I'm just gonna look at him. Keep your eyes on him. Don't look at nobody else, and you'll be okay.
Because there's over 200. I think it was around 230 people or so. Like, it was over 200 people that were there in the room at one time. So it was a sea of people. It was a lot. I looked because I was like pointing at people and saying hey and stuff and doing my thing, being charismatic. But then the best part happens. Anisha starts, they close the curtain off. You and your dad walk up at the top of the aisle. They open it back up. And I started, because the song that we had you coming down to was Brian McKnight Jr. Marry Your Daughter. You're walking down, and I'm bawling my eyes out.
And I'm just smiling at him because, like I said, I told myself to stare at him. And you see in the pictures of me looking, I'm not looking anywhere. My dad is looking straight ahead, but my eyes are flaming. I'm smiling and looking at him.
But she wasn't crying because she had already seen what I looked like.
Which sucked. It did. It really sucked. It did.
But I'm bawling. I'm like trying to hold it together. I'm doing the ugly cry with the lip like quivering, and like I'm just going. I got my little handkerchief and I'm wiping my eyes off and stuff, like trying to hold it together. Then fast forward a little bit, we get up And I'm trying not to look out into the crowd as I'm just trying to stare at you the whole time because it's intimidating. There's so many people out there, and I can just see your side of the wedding party because they're of the guests because they're in my peripheral vision, whereas my family I can't see on my side behind me.
I wish we would have did that differently, so that your side would have been on the side that I was on, and then my side would have been on your side, so that we could look at each other, like our sides, as comfort if we got too nervous or whatever.
Oh yeah,
It'd have been really nice.
That would have been cool. Yeah, nice little touch that we could have made. But yeah, so we get to pastor's crushing it. We had to leave her enough time because when we tried the rehearsal, she had told us, "Hey, I'm gonna move as the Spirit moves me. And that's what I'm gonna say. I'm not going to I can't prep this. I don't prep this." So we were like, okay, well, we don't have that much time because there was another wedding that was supposed to be after us that ended up not happening. But we had to give her as much time as possible. She didn't play about us because she didn't even let the whole if anybody objects
She's
to
like,
this,
we don't do those.
She was telling people don't even try messing with these two because Kyle had said something to me afterwards. He was like, I was gonna jokingly maybe say something, but then the way your pastor was getting on us. He's like, the way your pastor was talking about it and talking about y'all, she was ready to come across that aisle on somebody. So then we get to the vows. And again, it's an emotional day for me.
That's when I started bawling.
Anisha had really good vows.
Anisha probably has to go to the bathroom.
So Anisha had really good vows, and she's trying to hold it in.
I couldn't hold it in.
I'm trying to hold it in.
You couldn't hold it in.
I had to pause for a second and just catch myself before I started crying again and start talking through the ugly cry to people hearing. But ceremony ends.
Go take pictures.
We already talked about that.
And then we came back and we partied all night.
The walk-in, the energy walking into,
it was so amazing.
Yeah, proceeding into that was just.
It might just be because we're Leos and we like the attention, but I'm gonna tell you, no, that's not it. It was just the fact of walking in. It was just so much love. We were lit. We weren't drunk, but I mean, we were lit. So we was definitely. It was a vibe. It was fun. All of that. We did our first dance. That was beautiful.
The food was fire.
We did all of that. It was great.
And then we got bombarded after cutting the cake.
Yeah.
So we get. Okay. She's gonna take a potty break. So we had the cake in the corner, and it was on this nice chandelier, floating chandelier base. And so we cut the cake, we did all that, and then we turned around, and it's all these bright lights. Our photographers taking pictures. The video team is there watching us and filming us, and everybody's around us watching us cut this cake, and they bum rushed us to take pictures. We were stuck with 200 plus people taking pictures with us, trying to get their photos in before, some of them had to leave, so they were rushing to get their photos in and stuff like that. We're stuck taking pictures with all these people. We didn't move. We moved 5 or 10 feet in probably 20 minutes of just sitting and taking pictures the entire time of hey, cuz, hey, we love you guys. The wedding was so nice. Here's my phone. Here's so-and-so's phone. Hey, can you take this picture of us? Take this picture, take this picture, take this picture. We did not, like I said, it took us maybe 25 minutes to move about 5 or 10 feet from the cake upwards towards the dance floor and just getting bombarded. But it was so much love, so much fun. There was so much to do. Anisha's on her way back. So much dancing. No, I was talking about we didn't move. And then, we had an open bar, so we crushing it. We had people on which was a little disappointing, but we'll talk about that on another episode of our phone that we got. That they didn't leave a lot, but the people who did leave stuff was super super funny. And then I'm at the bar. This is towards the end of the night. It's winding down, and the garter ceremony was fire. We'll leave a video, but I'm at the bar, and we didn't let a lot of people get plus ones for the wedding because of just the sheer amount of people that we had. And this lady comes up to me and she's talking about how beautiful the wedding was, how much we look like we're in love and like all this stuff. And then she proceeds to tell me that she was a makeshift, she was a last minute replacement plus one for one of Anisha's cousins who never was given a plus one to begin with. And she was so proud telling us. And I was looking at her like, yeah. I'm thinking the whole time, she never was coming. She was never supposed to be here. But she came anyways. And we had a guest list to check people in. But because of how the venue was, you could go through the bathroom and get to our room, and you didn't have to get checked in.
Okay, buddy.
So, all right, Braxton is getting restless. So we're going to have to wrap up season 1.
Do a little behind the scenes episode, a little bonus episode.
What we going behind the scenes of? Yeah, we'll have to do maybe a quicker, like 20-minute, 30-minute bonus behind the scenes episode. So we owe that to y'all. Braxton's a little restless, so we're gonna have to wrap this up. This though has been season 1 of the Love Leep Podcast.
Thanks for joining us, guys.
Thanks for rocking with us. We see that you guys are watching. The watch time, like everything is up. So appreciate that. Keep sharing, liking, rating the podcast. Send this out to other people that you know. Next season, we got a lot in store for you. We're actually going to bring on experts, and we're actually going to start doing the interviews with the couples that we know and love dearly at different stages of their marriages. And that's going to be fun to hear those perspectives. And we have, like I said, some great round of experts to talk about different perspectives of marriage, of weddings, of different stages in your life as a couple that we have planned in store for you. So until then, keep rewatching, keep sharing the podcast with other people. And season 2 will be back in September. We'll let you know when we drop it, but take it easy. Have a good one.